Welcome to the 2024 Economic Preparation and Depression channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you for joining me on this Tuesday, August 27th, 2024 edition. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel for the latest interpretation of financial news as it becomes available. I appreciate your support. Today, we're just going to talk about consumer confidence as we head into this Wednesday rate cut meeting for the Federal Reserve Bank and how this rate cut could affect the economy, or if at all, if it's going to have any effect on the economy at all. Right now, Bloomberg.com is reporting that U.S. consumer confidence rises on views of economy and inflation. So remember, we got the report last week saying that, inflation is not growing as fast as it was previously. And we said that jobs... they also said that the thing was coming down, but now we know that it's not necessarily true because right now we have continuing claims, jobless claims still rising, even though initial jobless claims did come down last month. That was the good news. The bad news is that manufacturing and equipment orders were down. Business equipment orders fall amid election and inflation uncertainty. So you can see here, U.S. companies ordered less business equipment last month, new government data shows. Figures released by the Commerce Department show that the value of core capital goods, typically seen as proxy for spending on equipment outside of military hardware and aircraft, fell 0.1% in July. That's not a huge for fellas, but it fell half a percentage point after the revised numbers came back. So durable goods increased, which is good, by 9.9%, but declined 0.02% when excluding transportation equipment. The data showed orders for computers, communications, and electrical equipment, motor vehicles, and car parts. So manufacturing is down across the board. Other things are down, and this is going to be a mixed economy. We're going to have a mixed economy. Even though the Dow Jones is going up past 40,000, Americans are starting to spend $39 billion, according to CNN Business, on back-to-school shopping this year. They had the tax-free week. I think it was last week or the week before last. And many people went out and spent for that, as well as getting kids back into college and all of that. And they may get their refund checks coming up after the ad drop season, probably middle of October, just before Halloween. Students will be getting refund checks. So that's going to help fuel some of that spending and help the economy, to recover in many of these small, mid-sized cities where these colleges and high schools or private schools are located at. So we've got these cheaper supplies, school supplies, and all of that. That's showing signs of optimism as we head toward the fall. Now, what we don't have the optimism is that, this is what CNN Business is saying, that American economy is wildly confusing right now. Here's what's really going on. So you have high prices still in at these grocery stores and at the food and everything like that. But then again, you have at the same time, you have the stock market going up and all these assets are inflated wildly beyond belief. Housing market still, prices are still high, even though they're saying the demand for housing is coming down just a little bit. So they're saying that we have retail that's not going. The retail in some places there's closing stores. As you can see, many of you have seen that restaurants closing, Big Lots stores closing, CVS, Walgreens closing some of their locations that they've overbuilt in towns and stuff like that. So that's the mixed news. You have data showing that the retail sales are still struggling, stagnating, but then we have stores closing and things of that nature. Job growth as well is kind of showing a mixed bag, even though unemployment is at 4.3% right now. And it remains, quote, historically low. It's still higher than what we've seen in the last 4 or 5 years before the pandemic. And so that's going to continue to be a selling point for this recession, is that July's had an unexpectedly sharp rise in unemployment. The labor market is getting more softer now, as that's reported on a lot by the media now. A lot of mainstream outlets are saying that it's taking longer for people to find another job, or they're not finding one at all. A lot of ghost postings, and then the hot housing, as I've been telling you before. Even though mortgage rates have come down, that's the good news, 6.5, 6.4%. The problem is that the prices are still way too high for a lot of these markets, especially for entry-level buyers of homes. And for those of you that are renting apartments, the rent prices are still very high in a lot of major metropolitan cities, and some cities don't have rent controls, and so those prices are continuing to rise. So it's not going to get easier overnight, as this article pointed out rightly. Bank of America warned that the U.S. housing market is stuck, and it may not become unstuck until 2026 at the earliest. So we'll already be past the elections. We'll be into the new presidential term. We'll be into the congressionals. And this housing market doesn't have an easy fix to it, because they either have to lower prices of the inventory or increase inventory. And even if they increase inventory, it's still not enough to meet demand because there's so many extra people in America right now. We have over 350 million people living in America, and there's a lot more workers, a lot more, not enough. There's land, but not enough arable land, meaning not enough land where you can actually build something on in time that can sustain the kind of population that we're going to have in the next 10, 15 years, obviously. So that's going to be something. And then the inflation versus prices. We have prices that are rising, even though they're keeping the numbers down with the inflation. Prices are going up. Still on everything, just not as fast, and so that can lead to stagflation and other consequences that we all know are not good for this U.S. economy. So the bottom line is, you want to continue to prepare. You want to be optimistic and hopeful that yes, even though things are hard and times are bad, money can still be made in a depression or a recession. So that's the good news. The bad news is that and the inevitable pain is still going to be coming to the U.S. economy, whether they postpone it with another stimulus or putting more things to it. There's going to be more pain coming. So just keep that in mind. I'll talk to you more once the earnings come out on Thursday. God bless. Take care.